Okay, we're going to call the meeting to order at 1 o'clock. Roll call, Jory, please.
Lear,
Yes?
Hildreth,
Here.
Hurt,
Here.
Walker.
Here.
Does anybody have any addition, corrections, changes to the minutes from the last meeting?
We have no idea. None of us were in.
Oh, that's right. There weren't any. It was all right. It was all good.
Okay, sounds good.
Counting on you.
They're approved as set.
Excellent.
We're going to make a little change in the order of things because Deborah has to go to another meeting. So we're going to put her first. So we're going to go down to the overview, charter, and the parliamentary procedure.
Yeah, so I am going to give you a brief overview of the Compensation Committee Charter. This is your first meeting of the board year, so we want to hit it off right and understand your responsibilities and compliance. So let me So the purpose and responsibilities of the Compensation Committee, as you'll see on the presentation here, is your advisory to the Rossmore Walnut Creek Board on matters pertaining to the compensation and benefits provided to the RWC employees. You're supporting RWC's HR policy and collective bargaining agreements in the areas of compensation, benefits, public policies, and employment law. And you do perform, whenever you guys meet, the regular reporting to the board on committee activities and recommendations. So why is it important to follow the charter? The charter serves as a foundational document outlining the purpose, the scope, and authority in which the committee can proceed and provide advice to the board. So these are really in line with compliance and legal standards with regards to the Brown Act, which ensures transparency and public involvement in meetings of local legislative bodies. So the production of your meeting agendas, and Corporations Code specifies rules regarding the governance of advisory committees. And that's really back to that purpose and responsibility of that charter. Benefits of adhering to the charter is maintaining that consistency and compliance. So it ensures all these committee activities align with established regulations, promotes that transparency to the public and accountability, facilitates orderly and efficient meetings, and enhances stakeholder trust and participation. And so following the charter really helps to maintain that consistency and adherence to legal standards, ensuring this committee operates within its defined scope and authority. Any questions about the charter itself? Okay. And next up, we are going to go over the parliamentarian procedure overview. So these are just the basics. And most of you are aware or have attended our meetings, but just to give you a familiarity background of these principles that really help to make meetings run more smoothly and will help manage business to take place accordingly. So this parliamentarian procedure as it relates to Robert's Rules of Order really is related to our bylaws, so the RWC bylaws. And it's to facilitate the transaction of business, to promote cooperation and harmony within the group, and to ensure all members have equal rights, privileges, and obligations. And to ensure the majority has a right to decide, but the minority has rights which must be protected as well. So that majority is those majority that were in attendance, and the minority who may not be in attendance may know what is coming up or may be able to give advice or understand what's happening. So that's for the majority. So the roles of the chair really is to call the meeting to order, maintain order and decorum, ensure adherence to the agenda, and adjourn the meeting. So just very basics of the parliamentarian procedures. And really the decorum in meetings for the members is when addressing the chair or others is really to address them by their name, by chair or member, and speak only when recognized. debate the guidelines of the subject at hand. So if you have a concern or question on the motion or action, really address that motion and action, not the person or staff member directly creating that motion. So, and use respectful language. So this is just a general overview for making motions. You obtain the floor by raising your hand and getting acknowledged. You state your motion clearly. It does require a second, and then the floor is open for debate. The committee or body may consider only one primary action at a time. So if someone brings something up midstream, you can say, great idea, let's hold off until we conclude and do a complete vote on the action at hand. Again, no other business can be discussed unless the item of that has been moved and seconded has passed, failed, or referred or withdrawn, etc. However you guys want to move on that motion. Amending a motion is very simple. You have 3 ways to amend a motion. You can strike out a word in the proposed motion by inserting a word, or just both if you want to. It must be germane to the original motion. So as I give Jory when I was training her, if you're doing a $500 budget for hot chocolate, you wouldn't then by saying, well, I amend that budget to be $500 for an oak tree to be planted in the front of Rosswood Parkway. So again, it needs to hang on to that germane topic of hot chocolate and which budget account is, et cetera, et cetera. And it does require a second to open for that debate. So again, an amendment is simply to strike out a word, inserting a word, or both. And you can do paragraphs as well. So sometimes resolutions can get quite lengthy. And so common mistakes are saying, you hear maybe a staff person say the action or recommendation and someone says, so moved. While it's wonderful and easy to do that, it really doesn't restate that clearly for the full committee to start that secondary approval and debate process, as well as that secretary who's listening ever so carefully to hear what was it. And so restating that motion in full makes it clear of the intent.
We make that mistake all the time.
And that's okay. And that's okay. And then we refer to unfinished business as such, and that's not old business. And so this is a typical agenda format as Robert's Rules of Order. So you'll see all of our committee meetings. It can be kind of switched around a tiny bit, but this is the typical format. It's the call to order, approval of minutes, forum, reports from officers and committees, unfinished business, new business, and then adjournment. So to ensure with the compliance with the Rossmore Walnut Creek policies, legal standards, and to maintain transparency to both the committee members and the public, it's essential that committee agendas are published for public review, and that all meeting agenda items are included in advance. The following outlines and the reasons based on RWC policies, the Corporations Code, the Brown Act, Robert's Rules of Order, and our bylaws. So policy 201.1, advance notice of meetings. So we are required to publish to the public advanced overview of our meeting agendas. And then the open committee meetings emphasizes member participation of those meetings. Corporations Code requires that the same thing, the notice of meetings be given to all members of the community and an opportunity to attend and participate. And the Brown Act also has a requirement that mandates providing advance notice of meetings and agendas. Robert's Rules of Order also has a parameter of agendas so that you can only discuss the items on the agendas as posted. You can certainly add future discussion of items. You can certainly discuss minutely. I'm interested in adding the $500 hot chocolate line item because X, Y, and Z. Can we get it on the next meeting agenda? But the actual debate and action during that meeting, if it's not on the agenda, cannot be discussed.
Could I ask a quick question? Is there a time frame when you need to publish the agenda prior to the meeting?
It's within 40 to 72 hours, but we do it 1 week.
Oh, a
At least
week,
we attempt
okay.
to do the very best we can. Is that it?
Yeah, no, that's fine.
And then again, our bylaws clearly state that the agenda items should be publicly listed to maintain that transparency and clear structure for meeting discussions. So we've got strict agenda adherence, items not on the agenda cannot be discussed. If there are no items for discussion on the agenda when the chair or the group as a whole are developing the agenda, you can cancel the meeting, or you can meet to discuss potential future items. So those are the only two the items that you can discuss if there's nothing on the agenda. Any questions? Yes.
I've been in, not only the meetings here, but other meetings where the idea was that the motion had to be put on the table prior to discussion, but we always do discussion about an agenda item and then make a motion at the end. What's the history on that?
So typically staff or the board member or committee member, it depends, right, has to give a background on the item before you to consider, right? So you have to kind of know what's going on, why they arrived at it, what's needed, and what's the recommendation and who from, right? And then that's when someone can debate it, right? You guys have back and forth. There's not a set, you don't have to make a motion immediately at the get-go, right? You can have that circle sort of situation. The ultimate goal is to make a motion, right, the action on it, and allow for any additional debate after that seconder.
So the chairperson would, after the motion has been made and seconded, then call for additional discussion if needed.
Absolutely, and that's really where the chair will need to keep the eye on any side conversations that may develop in regards to other, it may lead into other pertinent things that need to be addressed, which are good. And when you feel like you've exhausted everything, you can just bring everything back. Okay, so anything else? Let's get this going.
About this
Let's
motion.
focus, right? It has to close. All right, guys, if there's no other questions, that concludes my
Thank you.
presentation.
Thank you,
Thank you, Deborah.
Thank you.
Okay, we go back to item number 4, which is we need to elect a vice chair. So the vice chair, for the most part, just fills in if the chair is going to be absent. But we do need to have a vice chair. So we have 3 of you. One of you hopefully would like to be a vice chair. And
I
so-
nominate Susan.
I'll second.
All right, okay, roll, is that a good to accept?
Yes, I'll give it a try, yes.
Okay, Jory?
Okay.
Roll call.
Blair,
Yes,
Pilger,
Yes.
Hurt,
Yes.
Walker.
Yes.
Okay.
congratulations.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay, we don't have any members for the forum present. Is there anybody on Zoom?
No.
Okay, we can go ahead then. So Arnold, let's have the staff report, please.
Oh, yes, thank you. All right. So hello, everyone. Hello. Thank you, or afternoon. Thank you for taking the time to meet today. This is
Again,
my first official, I know this is my first official meeting with the compensation committee team. And we have new members, Susan, Dwight. I think you've been in other committees before, right? So most of you.
5 years ago, I
Carol,
was on the
And then,
compensation.
oh, you were in the comp committee too, okay.
Comes full
I was
circle.
on the compensation. I was on the compensation.
You were the yes. Yeah, I've seen some videos. I've been doing my research too.
Yeah.
Right. See how they go. All right. So really quick, staff report. So as of today, or as of the end of May, we have a total of 258 employees. Since the beginning of the year, we have hired 22 employees. From the 258 employees, 16 employees prior to that number were separated. Five of those employees due to retirement. Some other employees because they decided to go a different route. Our growth rate, it's at 2.4%, and how do we measure that? It's by the number of employees that we had until the end of May compared to the number of employees that we had at the beginning of the year, and then we divide that by the number of employees we started in 2025. 2025, so that's a 2.4% increase growth rate compared to last year, which we were at 1.6. I shared that as well. I'm gonna take it with you guys. It was 1.6 only percent increase. Turnover rate has, as of May 31st, it's been 6.3%. It also decreased compared to the numbers from last year, the first 5 months of last year, 2024, it was at 9.9%. So that's a reduction on 3.6%, which is good. It means that, employees love working here and they're happy, right? And because we care for our employees as well, and you guys do too. The average tenure is 8.3 years. Last year, it was pretty close, it was 8.1 years. We also have, at the bottom, you can see the breakdown from the 258 employees. We have 117 regular full-time employees. We have 700 regular part-time employees. We have, as of now, 85 union employees. Part-time on call and temporary part-time, they are all part-time employees. We have a total of 46 employees, and 3 of them also are seasonal, which are employees that come and support during the summertime, especially in the fitness and aquatic department. Yeah.
On the union employees, what particular work do they do? Which types of work?
Yes, so most of our union employees do the labor, so they are our landscape crew, all carpenters, we have our custodial team as well, golf course maintenance, the landscape. Then we have some employees that do the mechanical and electrical job as well. So those are the majority of our union members.
Is it all one union?
Just one union, local 324, yeah, and then we've been with them for a very long time, yeah. And our relationship with the union, it's good. We're in transitioning to a new union rep. Our prior union rep was promoted, and he oversees now multiple unions in different states as well. So our new union rep's name is, our prior union rep name is Tristan. The new union rep, his name is Michael Redmond. Yeah, so we are starting to slowly work with him.
And when is the contract up?
So the contract, it's up on July 31st.
This year?
So this year, so we are on negotiations right now. We're discussing certain terms, and we're gonna be having meetings in the next couple weeks. So to see what's gonna, either we're gonna continue with the same contract or if there's gonna be any changes to it. But we'll keep you guys posted after we have those meetings, yeah.
Is there any threat of work stoppage?
No, I don't see that. No, again, like I said, our relationship with the union has been great. The members love working here as well. And we can see by the numbers on our turnover as well, yeah.
What union is the local affiliated with?
A 324, the laborers local union.
Yeah, they don't have, do they have a larger union they're affiliated with?
Like,
No?
Yes, I'm blanking right at the moment.
Not SEIU.
No, it's not SEIU, but
Yeah,
yeah, okay, well, I just.
We'll get back to you on it.
Yeah. I'd just be interested.
I'm blanking for some reason.
By the way, Arnold, you gave us percentages of employment type, but you
Yeah,
quoted
you have the
numbers of.
numbers,
yes, because it's interesting with this chart, either I can choose the percentage or the number, so we'll flip it.
Okay.
Numbers would
Be
be,
better, okay,
Numbers are
we'll do
good.
that.
yeah, thank you.
But I really like these charts.
Yes.
I think this visual is really good.
Good choice of colors too, you can tell the differences.
Yes.
You can't always do that.
I like lime green rather than.
Oh, good.
Okay, then the The next chart is generations. Of course, we have baby boomers, millennials, Gen X, and Gen Z. Those are the majority. The 26% in there, those are our baby boomers, and that's 67 employees. Baby boomers. Then we have Gen X, which is the majority. We have 110 employees that fall under that category. 110. Then we also have our millennials. We have 45 employees fall under that category. And then we have our Gen Zs, which are 36 employees. So there's been a change compared to last year. I think baby boomers, we were at 29%, so it's dropping that number, and there is a little bit of an increase on the Gen X's. It's at 42%, last year, it was at 39%, so it's a 3% increase in there as well.
By the way, is this based on total employees?
Total
or just
employees,
full-time?
total employees, full-time, yeah, total employees, yes. Including the full-time, part-time employees, all of that is in there. And again, this is for the first 5 months of this year, so current. Then on the next chart, you can see the difference between hourly employees and salary employees. So we have 218 hourly employees and 40 employees that are salary, which are our management team, pretty much the one that can oversee departments, and then they're the ones that also do performance management as well. Gender, we have 155 male employees and 103 female employees, which is, it's almost there. Yeah, it's almost equal. Any questions around that? Okay, that's pretty much it on the staff report.
Okay.
I could just say, it might be more useful on the first chart to hear full-time equivalents,
Okay,
just because comparing year to year, it just makes more sense to compare full-time equivalents
okay,
rather than just total number of employees.
yeah.
I agree.
Yeah,
And then maybe list the number of part-times.
Oh, yeah, then.
Arnold, are you gonna talk anything about the compensation management structure or the other,
Yeah, so that's a little kind of like refresher,
Uh-huh.
so especially for new members in the committee.
right?
So it'd be good to discuss the benefits strategy and guidance philosophy. I think that's, let me see if I can share my screen. Still have to make some adjustments to this, to Rosemont Walnut Creek from
Thank you.
Golden Rim Foundation. Still working on some other document, there's so many documents there.
It's in process.
Yes, it's in process. So Rosemont Walnut Creek strives to offer a comprehensive, that's the mission statement, by the way. So it strives to offer a comprehensive benefits package for employees not covered by the collective bargaining agreement. The focus of the committee's effort is to attract and retain quality talent while continuing to accomplish by managing costs, plan, designs, and sustainability. The guiding principles, Golden Rim Foundation's, Rosemont Walnut Creek's benefits will be developed with a focus on offering choices and flexibility to support our employees' health and welfare needs and the health and welfare of their dependents. RWC will ensure the sustainability of our benefits programs by managing cost increases to affordable levels to the foundation. RWC will provide appropriate tools and education to allow employees and their dependents to determine planned costs and services covered when making their health and welfare choices. Rosemont Walnut Creek will manage its carriers and partners based on market competitive rates, practices, and services. RWC will administer its benefits strategy with a balanced perspective between foundation operating objectives and recognizing workforce acquisition and retention needs. Okay, that's the philosophy around.
Can I just have one quick question? I apologize, I am the new one here. We don't have any type of retiree healthcare, right?
No,
Okay.
So Arnold, you're the new guy,
yes.
and we got rid of the old guy. Does this ring true to you?
Yeah.
When you read this, based on your experience?
Like,
'Cause it still
for
sounds.
sure may have to still add some other thing, there's other things that we do for employees as well.
Oh.
So, yeah, that's, it was last revised May 2021, I will revise it again if there's anything that needs to be added, I will for sure add that and share that as well, yeah. Or if you guys have anything else that you like to share.
Looks
So,
good to me.
looks good?
Yeah,
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, the next topic will be. Okay, so that's the, I was able to update this. So the Rosemere Walnut Creek Compensation Management Structure, Design and Process Overview. So just a quick history around this is Rosemere Walnut Creek Compensation Management Structure will be aligned with the board's compensation philosophy as approved by the Board of Directors of July 28, 2011. So it's been there for quite a bit of time. Rosemere Walnut Creek relies upon the skills and abilities of its employees to create a superior living experience for the residents of Rosemere Walnut Creek. In order to attract and retain competent, experienced employees, Rosemere Walnut Creek offers them competitive compensation and benefits in a congenial work environment. So Rosemere Walnut Creek's strategy is to focus on maximizing financial efficiency. By relying primarily on experienced employees, total compensation costs can be controlled while still positioning Rosemere Walnut Creek to provide superior levels of service and cooperation in order to meet the residents' demands. This information is shared in the agenda, so I just don't want to go through everything, but some of the main things in there. Also, whenever we do a market research, we use a tool called Economic Research Institute that provides with a lot of information from different type of salaries, wages out in the market compared to the business that we provide here. And it's from the area as well.
So Arnold, when I look at this, and I don't know if we're free to edit it, but some of the language just looks arcane to me. The general manager's ad hoc advisory group. That goes back, that goes back like 15 years. I mean, to me, that should be stricken from this document.
Okay.
It doesn't exist. I mean, this categorization of positions by family is still appropriate. But, you know, referencing that ad hoc advisory group, which doesn't sound like it falls under the Brown Act either.
Yeah, jobs, families, doesn't it?
And then the next paragraph, it talks about the external wage surveys. Well, those were stopped like 4 years ago. So to me, let's see, well, that's a run-on sentence, isn't it? The first two sentences should just be stricken.
Sorry, what paragraph is it?
So where it says previously the compensation
Oh, yeah.
committee recommended and the board approved an ongoing participation. I mean, that language is no longer appropriate.
Since we don't do it anymore.
No, because in 2021, yes, a compensation research and planning tool is adopted, yes. And then strike to take place of previous surveys used due to discontinuation of two. Well, yeah, strike that.
Okay. We'll do that.
I don't know if everybody
No,
agrees.
that makes sense. That makes perfect sense. You don't need to see how long you can make this by saying what we did.
Yeah, yeah, we don't need all that history.
No. 2021 is far enough back.
This is good because it helps me also,
Yeah.
like, get better information, yeah.
If we do these changes, do we need to first have a motion that this committee recommends to the board updating this?
Because this is an internal HR document, correct?
Well, this was established, yes, HR and the comp
But it
committee back then.
refers
from-
in
yeah.
here, in this, to the fact that it went to the board as well.
Yeah, but we're not changing the
Okay,
We're not changing the
procedure, we're just changing the documents. and
just
editing.
terminology.
We're just editing the documents, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
And I don't think we're changing the purpose or the explanation, but just cleaning it up. Kind of
Yes.
like what they've done, it looks like in the past.
Yes. Then I have one more comment. So the second to the last paragraph, it ends with a lump sum payment that does not affect wages. And I think what we really say there is it does not affect base wages.
No.
It affects wages.
Well, if it's just a one-time payment, it's really not affecting your
Base wage.
base, yeah, your base, your
Okay.
hourly wage,
Right,
basically.
Right.
That's what it means, but it's probably better to be specific.
In the first sentence of the next paragraph, I'm not sure I understand what that says. Compensation Committee also recommended that the board approve eliminating general raises and cost of living adjustment increases in favor of a performance-based merit raise standard. Really?
Is that accurate? Because I was gonna ask.
So I think what the nature of that was is we do a performance evaluation for all employees, and you have to achieve a minimum in order, so it's not just across the board blanket COLA increase. It's based on your level of competency within the evaluation.
I just think that sentence is misleading,
Yeah.
you know? It's not clear. I know what you're saying, and I know how we operate, but I don't think that sentence says that.
We'll be revised. Why don't we kind of take this back and we can wordsmith it a bit and bring it back to you for further review, so it's a little more reflective of current
What we're currently doing.
process.
Good idea.
So just to clarify, the cost of living adjustment is not automatic, but in further action, we may consider what that cost of living adjustment is gonna be for this year, but that's not automatic. Individuals have to achieve some performance levels
Yes,
to get
correct.
that. And then there's also another component that we're gonna talk about,
Yes.
a little extra. Sorry, that's not the right way to
Yes.
phrase it, but.
Well, and we don't call it a COLA adjustment anymore either.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't look at it and
No,
say,
we
oh,
get
well,
it that
that's
way,
what
okay.
COLA says, and we do that automatically. We don't
Okay.
call it that.
Okay.
Great. Thank you very much. Okay, we don't have any unfinished business, but we have several new business. We've already taken care of 8A with Deborah. Now we can talk about the discussion about the 2026 base wage increases and the
Yes.
CPU. This is in
The CPI.
in lieu of COLA, that
Right,
type of thing, yeah. Okay. So Arnold, why don't you give us your
Yes.
recommendation?
So there's been a history since it was presented in 2017, 2016 to apply in 2017 that the committee approved to use the CPI, which is the Consumer Price Index for urban. And to use the number that the April's numbers from that year. So this number is updated every 2 months. So the first number updates in February, then in April. And that's the number that since 2017, we have used to apply to the base rate or the base wages to all employees. This number, and I can share that with you guys here, the history on the number. It's in your packets as well. Since 2017, the CPAU number based on the San Francisco, Oakland, and Hayward area, 2017 was 3.8. And there is also other ways to measure increases, which is the ECI, which is the Employment Cost Index. Again, the CPAU doesn't reflect the current labor market, that's the ECI, right? So, but we adopted the CPI. And in 2017 was 3.8. And you can see the history there all the way up to 2024, which last year was 3.8. The only time where I think there was no increase was, and I'm gonna share this other screen here.
2021.
2020,
Yeah.
where the CPI EU increased to 1.1%, and we only had 0% increases.
Mid-COVID.
Was
With
COVID,
COVID,
right,
and that was
COVID,
the COVID,
right.
correct.
Mitigating circumstances.
Yeah,
that's-
And interesting now, you can see the 2025 number, based on the April number, is 1.3%. It's very low.
very low.
It's very low, so. And then you can see there that the ECI number is still, which drives the labor market, is 3.5%. It's higher. And so we're proposing to still go along with that number for 2026. Because we wanna keep
1.3.
continue with what we've been doing since 2017. We've never changed that. It's always based on the percentage that the number that we get from the April. And for next year would be 1.3%.
Oh, yes, that scares me.
Yeah.
I think, oh man, that's almost like a slap in the face.
And
I
exactly,
mean,
and that's.
they won't even see that on their paycheck.
It's,
I wonder, well, two questions. I mean, number one, there's a lot of volatility in the
Yes, definitely.
macroeconomic
Right.
picture right now. And that may be artificially low just due to the
Yes,
wackiness,
yes.
the chaos. We've always done this April adoption in order, because the budgeting process was so time consuming, because it was done by employee, as I remember. I don't know if that's true going forward, but I'm wondering if we shouldn't take another look at it on the June number that comes
The
out
June
on
number?
July 15th.
Okay, yeah, because the number from February was 2.4, and then it dropped to 1.3
Yeah.
in April.
Oh, wow, 2.4 in
It was in
February?
February. Mhm.
Yeah,
Huh.
so it's that front loading of pre-tariff inventory.
Well, the inflation just came out today, that was 2.2.
Yeah.
2.2, yeah.
So do the same conditions apply that it's too late to do a salary increase in July?
No, I think we can, so we would be then your committee mid-July, and then we can prepare that to the board for adoption, including
I think
the budget at the end of July, that gives us all August to calculate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I think that's doable.
Okay.
You know, so in the past, doing salary increases by person would seem so cumbersome. I just don't know.
Well, our whole process is, you mean in terms of coming up with the figure or?
So I remember this discussion in 2020, actually, because we wanted to delay it due to COVID. And accounting went crazy. No, we have to have it in June, so that, because it takes so long to do these salary increases by individual within the budget system. But that was GenArt. I'm hoping NetSuite is.
Well, I mean, it's not even NetSuite, it's Velocity now that we're in. And unless accounting would come back and say something different, I don't think that would be, and I don't think we'd do it before then anyway.
Okay, okay.
So,
Right.
because we get through our whole evaluation process and then add on top of that, any merit market
Merit
adjustments, so this usually doesn't hit any pay period until the first pay period in.
Until, yeah, so we still have time until after the mid-January to make all the changes.
And it's mostly we need to do it early for the budgeting process.
Yeah, correct.
But if we can wait till July, I think that's the best idea.
When will the
You
new,
hope that it goes, I mean, I hope for the employees' sake that
I know.
it goes up.
when will the July figures be available though?
July 15th.
July 15th?
June,
That's
July or
what the
June?
website says, yeah.
Can we clarify that when
Yes,
it's June or July?
The June numbers come out on July 15th.
And we will shoot now, we meet on the 9th.
Shoot,
July
We can
9th,
Reschedule that.
yeah.
so we won't know in June.
No.
Well, or you'd have to
Won't
change.
know
you'd
until
change
the
in
end,
July.
July probably 12th, or let me just look into that really quick.
Well, we had to move the
We're
meeting.
meeting, yeah, I
Yeah.
think we might have to move the meeting.
We can do that.
Yeah,
Can we move the meeting to the following month? Well, we have to figure out if we can find a place. I mean, not the following month, the following week.
following
yeah.
week, yeah, like July 16th. Because we want to get it to the board in July, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's important.
Because the board meeting in July is on the 20, I guess it's the
The
31st.
31st,
Okay,
yeah.
that's fine.
So that's even.
There's plenty of time there. July is a long month.
31 days.
Yes, I know. So with all that being said,
July
just put-
15th, sorry,
July
July 15th
15th.
is when the number comes
okay, so
for June.
so you'd be ready with it on July 16th, we would know.
Yep, we will know by
We
July
know.
16th. Let me see what day is that in the week? So, yeah, July 15th is a Tuesday, so
Yeah,
by
July.
July 16th, yes, I'll have that number.
Okay. Jeff, do we have to check and figure out if there's a room available somewhere?
We can find, we'll coordinate a date. Is everybody available?
16th at the same time?
Mhm.
So we won't be publishing a number in advance. We could put kind of the boilerplate
yeah.
Right,
report and Arnold will bring to you the calculation.
right, right.
Yep,
Is that okay?
yep, yep.
I think that's the best thing, and we hope, for the employees' sake, I hope the number
Okay, so
goes up.
everybody is here the week of the 16th.
Yeah.
And the 22nd. We could do it either week, really.
Or the 22nd, yeah.
Okay, so we'll find a date and set that out.
Okay,
You mean a place, because we're on the 16th, right?
yeah.
Well,
We can do the 16th
Oh,
and we
okay.
can find a place.
Depends on if we can find a room.
Yeah.
Luckily, this is not one of those meetings where we have a whole bunch of number, forum and all of that we have to have a big room.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, the number from February was actually 2.7 and it dropped to 1.3 in April.
yeah, so we
Just have
hope
to
at
wait
least,
for-
I'd like to see it go
I'd like to
above
see 2 at least, not over 2.
That's just, that would,
And by the way, just as I recall, we use the same percentage for the union.
Yes.
So it's across the board.
that does bring up an interesting question. 'cause
You
we're-
gotta get that negotiations.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
With the union right now.
About an August 1 renewal.
Yeah.
Yes.
On that number.
That's, we're gonna have to discuss.
We
that
should
with
meet
them.
on July 16th.
Yeah.
Is that enough time?
because if the committee recommends it to the board's gonna approve, we have to assume. And, then we'd be fine with the union. Yes?
Yeah, I think it'll just play into our strategy of how we want to proceed with that negotiation.
Yes.
Potential
Some time.
extension. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So, well, this was gonna lead to my next topic, which was the reason for the increase in the merit market pool. Due to this low number.
Oh, I see.
Oh, okay.
That's where you see that bump in there.
So maybe we need
To
to hold
defer
off on
that, just
that.
defer that also? Should we just defer that
I
also?
think we want to tie them together.
Yeah.
Because they
Because that's-
are, I mean, what our strategy was looking at the difference between the CPIU and the ECI, knowing that we need to stay competitive with
Right.
our
And
marketplace.
retention and.
So yeah, if you're gonna hold on the one, I would.
So, and that means we also should hold off on D.
Yes, that all, that
Just-
also, that's all
Just
tied
hold
together.
all of
Yes,
that for next
All-
month,
yeah.
like, yeah, for next month.
that's
Okay,
correct.
I think that's a good idea.
We just killed your meeting.
Well, you certainly did.
That's okay.
It's okay, we're all right with that, we'll just have a long meeting next time. So Jeff will, and Arnold, you guys will get back to us about a date and time so we can get it in our
Yeah.
calendars.
Yes.
We hope for the
16th.
The 16th at the same time would be lovely, but, if that
Could
doesn't
I
work.
ask a question about the merit market pool?
Mhm.
I understand that concept. How do you determine the amounts that are given to staff? Is it related to evaluation? How do you implement that?
So it's tied to also the evaluations for the year and merit and going above and beyond from the regular duties. So there's discussions with the senior staff team and Jeff, myself, or Eric before too, where they all get together and then discuss different options on how this increase will be utilized, yes.
And Arnold, don't they also, if somebody's band has hit the top and then they make up the difference between that and the new band?
So that's, we have the bands, the wage bands, so we have the floor and the cap.
Mhm.
So if an employee is falling below
Mhm.
the floor, so we have to
Bring it up.
bring it up.
But doesn't the funding come out of the
Same thing.
the merit pool?
Correct.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
That's the
That's
market
where it
portion
comes,
of
that's.
Yeah, okay, market merit,
And
okay.
that's why that number with a CPI of 1.3 and then having a very low merit pool was probably not gonna cover all those adjustments for the bands.
Because you really are forced with somebody who's
move it up,
below
yes.
the
We
band,
can't-
they have to, you have
we
to.
can't
you
go
bring them up,
lower
take care of
You
that
bring 'em
first.
up, you bring
Yeah,
'em up
You
to
have to
the-
do it, you have
Correct.
to do that first.
Mhm.
Okay.
Susan, have you heard anything about the compensation management system that's in place using this ERI and the bands?
No, I mean, no.
I mean, that, we have some time.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think it's really useful for you to understand
Yeah, how
that
it
system
works.
because it works well, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
curious, Arlo,
Yes.
if you think
No,
it's still
definitely.
working. But
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, with the bands, so we use this tool, the ERI, which is the Economic Research Institute, that provides with all the salaries around on all different positions for hourly, exempt, non-exempt, positions, right? So they provide with a medium, and we do from the medium, we calculate the floor, which is 0.9 from the medium,
Oh,
and then we calculate the cap, which is 1.2. So it goes up to, let's say, from that number, another 20% on top of that. So that's how we calculate the cap. And that's the same number that we use whenever we are gonna go publish and post a position. We normally do it based on the median number that is there, and that's what we post. So we have to be competitive with the market, and that's where we have to keep updating our numbers.
how often do you update?
Every
the
year,
bands?
every year, by the end of the year. Yeah, we follow a percentage based on the world at work market. That's the number that applies to like,
And when did this go into effect? Because it's not that ancient. I think it's not that long, the CMS 2020,
2020.
something like that.
So back to your question, we update the bands, but we do specific market studies on positions as you may have challenges with recruitment.
That's what
or
they're-
you have
yes.
something that it makes it evident that that position is going. So a manager might go to Arnold and say, can we look at this specific position? So we try and do like how many of those a year?
yeah, I mean, we have to keep updating the job descriptions as well, because some other applicants are, but I have this set of skills, right? Let's say we have different postings, but the market out there, they have different type of job descriptions, so we have to also update our job description. So we have to go to our tool and pull that salary as well and combine it, and from there, we get the new number, and then we have to update that as well. So it's a process every time a manager or specific departments are having difficulties recruiting, because there may be applicants out there looking at our job descriptions and they're like, oh, I'm overqualified for that, and the salary is not worth it, so that's when they don't apply. So we have to keep updating and making sure we're competitive as well.
And it's not just a straight, there's a listing of every job that we have out there, as you can imagine. All of our jobs are really kind of morphed into a variety of job titles and
Yes.
duties into one
Title, just for
classification.
example,
So it's a whole formula that we had to use. What percentage of a time is doing this level of work? What percentage should be, then you come up with somewhat of
Yeah.
hybrid that
Yes.
you go out to the market to compare
Quick,
with. So
quick
it's-
example would be, let's say I'm recruiting for an HR generalist. I may need this HR generalist to know about workers' comp, leave of absences administration, employee relations, or have knowledge as a business partner. So I have to put all that in there. And then like Jeff was saying, give a percentage on what this employee is gonna focus the most on. Like this person gonna focus is only on like doing just workers' comp, then I'm gonna put 100% to that. But no, I want this employee do all evenly, like, okay, I'm gonna add 20% on each category. And that's how it calculates. So it also depends on what their main responsibilities are gonna be.
So walk us through the performance evaluation and the salary change process and how that works.
So every year, towards the end of the year, so all managers or all employees go through a performance review. They do their self-reviews, same as managers, we all do our self-reviews, and it's revised by their direct supervisor. And all employees, our philosophy has been that all employees have to at least score a 2.8% on their score base of a 5%. To receive that increase, the base increase, which is hopefully not the 1.3%. So that's what they will get. And of course, there is other employees that go above and beyond, so they may receive an additional incentive there or a bonus as well.
Out of the merit.
Out of the merit pool, correct.
What if they
No.
fall below the 2.8?
Yeah, what happens then?
So there is multiple things with that. Technically, we should not be having employees falling under the 2.8% because we are working with them throughout the year. If there is any inconsistencies in there, so we either move the employee to a performance development plan or performance improvement plan. So we want them to develop themselves and they may not know that they're not doing good. So we want them to succeed in the roles. So we support them. So most of our employees, it's hard, I don't remember seeing an employee falling under the 2.8%. So since I've been here, I think all of them have, but yeah, this.
They're usually gone before it?
No, but they should not be surprised by their score.
Right, yeah.
But then if they're on an improvement plan, and let's say they achieve the improvement plan, they may then get their increase at that point in time. So
Yeah.
it's just a good tool to make sure everybody is what they need.
I know at some point, there used to be a report that showed average scores on performance reviews. Is that
I haven't seen it.
Oh,
before.
yeah,
I haven't seen it in the
uh,
committee last year.
I can pull that report too and present it.
Well,
Yeah, I can
that
pull
would
the
be good to
report.
know.
that would be,
Yeah, that would be very good to know.
and compared to what merit increases were given historically, that would be.
And last year you changed the
Yes.
way you did the performance
Yep,
reviews,
it was
right?
the first year we actually we adopted Paylocity as our HR and payroll software. And starting 2024, 2023 was the first time that they started doing their performance reviews through Paylocity, where our employees just go online and then, this is non-union employees, go to Paylocity and then they do their self-reviews. And then the manager reviews it. There's different categories where the employees are scored on. It's either like teamwork, performance, safety, different
Our core values.
things, core values that all employees are scored on. And that's now all recorded. So last year for this year was the first time that we actually used Paylocity for the performance evaluations.
And if I remember right, it was well received.
It was well received, but at first it was like any other software, there's a little bit of pushback.
Yeah.
Right, they're not used to it. A lot of what we're used to, like everything on paper, like put a comment in there, good. Right, but now we have everything on record and it's pretty straightforward and it's simple and it's very user friendly.
So just in terms of the merit or whatever the proper term is, let's say someone has a 3.5 in one division or unit and someone has a 3.5 in another. Is from the merit rate or the whatever amount of money they get, is it consistent?
No.
No, okay.
So imagine that every manager establishes different kind of criteria. We want to be consistent, and we share the same values and core elements that we rate on. But every supervisor, manager, director evaluates slightly differently
Okay.
of their employees. So a 3.5 under Ann Matola might be different than a 3.5 under Ann Peterson.
Okay.
Kind of deal. That being said, it's not directly you score a 4 or 4.2, that means you're eligible. We like to have people at least be in the 4 range before they're eligible for a merit award.
Oh, okay.
Oh, interesting.
Oh,
But that's
okay.
not a hard and fast
Okay.
thing, because there can be. It could also be that, yeah, they scored a 3.5, but they did this really fantastic project that resulted in savings or in
Mhm.
something that was of value. So it could be that way too. It's not
Okay.
hard and fast that.
I remember when I think it was when Eric brought out and said what the different categories were
Yeah.
for it was very interesting.
Yes.
And do you have any history on how much we've spent in that merit market pool, like last year?
Yeah.
I think we spent it all, actually.
Yeah, well, they had 150 last year, right? No, less, 110,
Yeah.
right? 110
110 was
last year.
I think the year before that it was 100.
Yeah, well,
And
the
went
year
up to
before
100.
that, it was higher, and then it went down to
Yeah.
100, then it went up 10, yeah.
I can't imagine you wouldn't spend it all.
So Arnold's gonna show you this spreadsheet here. You're not plugged in.
Oh,
But there's some caveats here for sure. In terms of, you'll see that we didn't spend all of it in 24 according to this. But there are situations where we have vacancies. There's situations where we may have given a merit and then that didn't materialize for the whole year. There could be situations where there was an adjustment made within a department, and there was different savings or things that got attributed to within the department. So it's not a straight every adjustment calculated through that. So it is kind of a balance between what the merit market pool is and what the approvals for recommendations that took place throughout the year.
So the GRF MOD separation?
Yeah, there's a portion that is attributed to the GRF, so basically the non-GR or non-MOD employees. All the MOD employees are funded basically through the management agreement. So that's why there's a.
Yeah,
different
I remember
amount
that
there.
it went from 125 to 100.
So who approves the MOD bucket of dollars?
You do in the MOD budget.
Oh,
But not through this meeting?
It hasn't been through this meeting before. How it's been calculated is the portion of the GRF that is done on a kind of, she does it by a per employee basis then, and then attributes that to the MOD.
How is
So the
the,
number of employees, has
That's how, I believe that's how.
has to do with the
calculated.
number of employees.
based on the number of employees.
how is the merit pool recommended budget amount determined?
Oh, for the MOD or the overall the merit pool?
For GRF, for our RCW, RWC.
So I would have to look into details on that to give you the correct answer. I just don't want to make up the answer right now. But again, there is history around like the amount of employees and what was proposed based also on the CPI numbers that we received. And then they calculate from there what the total increase for the following year, and then they choose a percentage from it. What would the merit pool would be?
How we came to the 150 this year that we were proposing was more a factor of where it was last year.
Yeah.
and looking at the 1.3 three to the,
Mhm.
so we figured it would give us some additional room to make adjustments and make sure we're keeping competitive where we need to. So it wasn't formula driven per se, but rather
Don't you think the RPM, market merit pools should come through this committee? I mean, because the first question I have is that how many employees are entitled to that? Because that doesn't fall under the union. So we're allocating,
So, yeah, the non-union employees, right, yeah.
I don't know.
well, it can fall under the
Yes.
union where we do we call it through the union incentive pay. So they may have a step in category. We may say you're within your step B, which is just make up a number 25, but you're getting incentive pay because of extra. That would come out of this. But
Or like,
yes, I do
the
think that
carpenters last
Correct.
year, we had to, we couldn't hire enough carpenters.
that would
Yes,
come out
that
of
would
this.
come from that.
But you're right, I do, yeah, I do think it's
Call premiums.
we'll bring that July.
Sounds good. Did that help,
Oh,
Susan?
yeah, that's good, yeah,
Okay.
oh, it's interesting.
Yeah,
It is, and it's not well understood.
Yeah,
No, it's really
In
not.
the community.
Yeah.
And it's really a,
Do you know who this reminds me of a long time ago? I won't say it.
It's been really, really effective in terms of it avoids the up and down. Like it avoids us from falling behind or kind of the continual march where we have people that are now way above a band doing the position. So it keeps it fairly well regulated. I think it's been effective from
Yeah.
the board's perspective.
It's been-
yeah, yeah,
Well, I mean, if it helps retention.
Yeah,
that's what you
yes, no,
want.
definitely
Yeah.
that too.
yeah.
that's important.
How about ERI? Is it, you find it still the most effective tool? out
Yes, yes, so I inherited that and I've had some meeting with the reps and they guided me through like the whole process and it's pretty straightforward. And then if it is hard, we're having a hard time trying to recruit for a specific position, we can send them all the information. And then they will do the market research for us.
Oh, really?
And then they will give us a
that's
number. Yeah, they can do that as well. They offer to do that, yeah.
How much does it cost?
Oh, it's around 7,000 something, 7+.
Previous studies, Susan, I forget, they were like $60,000 or something to do.
no.
Gallagher did the studies, and so.
No, they're
Whoa.
bargained, yeah,
Yeah.
but it's a pretty powerful tool. It has a lot of information in it. Yeah. Mhm.
All right, well, that moves us on to the next meeting is not going to be on July 9th. It will tentatively be on the 16th, but we will await some news from Arnold and Jeff as soon as we secure a time and place.
Yep.
Okay. And with that, anything else? We are adjourned.